A very good morning, class 10 students. I welcome you all on this online platform provided by Jagriti Classes. So today we are going to start a new chapter of your science textbooks, that is chapter number 13, Magnetic Effects of Electric Current. So today we'll be starting this chapter. So this video lecture is for class 10 students and we are doing chapter 13th of class 10th. And this is your part first of this series, that is Magnetic Effects of Electric Current. So in this chapter, you have some portions of the syllabus to be deleted, which is your generators. So now generators, which was, yes, it was an important topic, but now according to the latest 2021 revised syllabus, you do not have to study those topics. So we'll be doing our course according to the latest 2021 syllabus, okay? So in this, firstly, we have to study the magnetic effects of electric current. In the previous video lecture about the chapter electricity, we have studied that a current carrying conductor, it produces heating effect. So you have two effects of current, the one which we have studied in our previous video lecture, which was on electricity. So there we have studied what kind of effect? We have studied heating effect of electric current. And this heating effect, it was based on Joule's law of heating. And what was Joule's law of heating? So if we recap our previous chapter, that is current produces a heating effect, and this heating effect, it is based on Joule's law of heating. And what is actually Joule's law of heating? Joule's law of heating says that the magnitude of heat, I told you we derived a formula for heat in the previous chapter, I square RT. H here signifies heat. I square means square of current. R is resistance. And T here was the time. So accordingly, we can say that Joule said this Joule's law of heating says that the heat, magnitude of heat released, it is directly proportional to square of current. It is directly proportional to resistance, and it is directly proportional to time. And when you combine all these quantities, you get a relation H is equals to I square RT, which is in turn based on Joule's law of heating. That is, whenever you increase the amount of current flowing in a conductor, amount of heat would increase. If you increase the resistance, then also the amount of heat will increase, because collisions, number of collisions would increase. And if we increase the time for which the current is passing through the conductor, then the amount of heat released will also increase. So this was what we have seen in our previous chapter electricity, that current shows heating effect whenever a current flows through a conductor. Now in this chapter you have to study magnetic effects of current. That is, what do you actually understand by the term magnetic effects? So we have to see the magnetic effects of electric current. So what is actually magnetic effect? Magnetic effects means whenever a current is flowing through any conductor, any wire, we can say conductor is a material which allows current to flow through it. So we say that whenever a current is flowing through a conductor, then let's suppose this is your conductor and a current is flowing through this. So during the flow of current, this current will produce magnetic field around the conductor, and this conductor would start to behave as a magnet. For the time the current is flowing, this current generates a magnetic field around this conductor. Okay, this pen, my stylus is the conductor, and whenever I am passing current, then some materials, they develop magnetic field around the conductor. For what time? If I stop the supply of current, then this magnetic field would also get destroyed. So this is basically magnetic effect of electric current. I hope this is clear. So now we will be writing this effect. Okay, that is, how can you explain magnetic effect of electric current? When current is passed through, when the current is passed through a conductor, then magnetic field is produced around the conductor. Okay, so when the current is passed through any conductor, then magnetic field is produced around that conductor. But if you supply, and this is known as magnetic effect of electric current, that due to flowing current, a magnetic field is being generated around that conductor or around that current carrying wire. So this is basically magnetic effects of current. But remember one thing, if we stop the supply of current, then you can have any two conditions. Okay, if you stop the current flow through the conductor, then magnetic field may get destroyed, or there are certain materials which get permanently magnetized. It means when you cut off the supply of current, then also the magnetic field which was produced, it does not get destroyed. So magnetic field may not get destroyed once it is formed. Okay, so this classification is based on nature of material. The nature of material which you are taking, either it can get temporarily magnetized, it means the magnetic field would get destroyed if you stop the flow of current. So such materials are known as temporary magnetized materials. That is, you can say when you are stopping the supply of current, the magnetic field is also getting destroyed. It means this current only produced a temporary magnetism in those materials. So we can say this phenomena as temporary magnetism. Whereas when you stop the current, but still the magnetic field persists around that conductor, it means it is showing permanent magnetism. So you can call them to be permanent magnets, or this phenomena is known as permanent magnetism. So either a material would show temporary magnetism or permanent magnetism. It just depends on the nature of the material itself. That is, what kind of substance are you using. So this is actually the meaning of the chapter's name, that is magnetic effect of electric current. So we said that when current is passed through a conductor, okay, then magnetic field is produced around the conductor, and you can write, and the conductor starts behaving like a magnet. So this is called magnetic effect. That is, let's suppose you have a conductor here. This is our conductor, and you can say conductor, I told you in general sense, you can take it to be a wire. So this is your wire, a conducting material, and through this current I is flowing through this conductor. So what would happen? When the current is flowing through the conductor, then magnetic field is being generated around this conductor. Why I am drawing magnetic field in the form of concentric circles? We'll be discussing it later in this chapter itself. So this is a kind of magnetic field. Let's suppose this is the conductor, and now a current is flowing through this conductor. So around this, in a circular manner, magnetic field would be produced. Okay, so this is the produced magnetic field. When a current I flows through the conductor, and this sort of effect is called magnetic effects. Now, after we have discussed magnetic effects, so this magnetic effect, it would not be shown by all materials. That is, if you are taking any kind of material, you are passing the current, then it is not necessary that that material would behave as a magnet. So there are some materials which behave as a magnet, and the others, they do not behave. So the important term here is that the material should be conductor. Okay, that means it should allow the current to flow through it. And the materials which show this effect are in turn called as magnetic materials. So you can have two kinds of materials, magnetic materials, or you can call them to be magnets. So on the basis of the nature of material, that is either it is showing the magnetic effect of current or it is not showing any kind of such effects, you can classify those substances into two categories. The first one would be magnetic materials, the next one would be non-magnetic materials. So how can you define a magnetic material or magnets if we say? So magnets are what? We have all played and seen magnets, okay, when we were kids, and still now many of you have seen magnets, okay. So magnets are what? Magnets are those substances which show magnetism or which attract other materials which are made up of iron or iron-like objects. So we can define magnetic materials or magnets. They are the substances which attract iron objects. You all know that magnet attracts iron objects. So magnetic materials are the substance which attracts the objects made up of iron, and with iron you can say as well as iron-like objects. So magnetic material or magnets are those pieces or those substances which are attracting other objects which are made up of iron, or you can say which are made up of iron-like substance. Like you can say materials made up of nickel also get attracted and iron is getting attracted too. So such substances are called magnets. And non-magnetic material which do not show such kind of attraction property. So which do not attract objects made of iron, nickel, etc. So such materials would be called as non-magnetic materials. So I hope this classification is clear. Non-magnetic means this pen stylus made up of plastic, it would not attract. If I try to flow the current, then no current would flow because it is an insulator. So non-magnetic materials are generally insulators. They do not allow current to pass through them. So when current will not flow through the material, then no kind of magnetic field would be produced. And hence such materials are called non-magnetic material. You can say that these materials, they do not show magnetic effects of electric current. Magnetic effect produced by electric current, because they are not allowing this current to flow through them. So if the current is not flowing, how the current would exhibit its magnetic effect? Whereas magnetic material or magnets, they show magnetic effects when current is flowed through them or passed through them. Magnetic effects of current is seen. Okay, so this is the basic difference. How can you define a magnet or magnetic materials, and what are non-magnetic materials? Now we are moving. I said you that this is our conductor and a current I is flowing through it. So now when the current flows, it produces magnetic field. So what is actually the meaning of the term magnetic field which we are saying from the starting? So now we'll see what do you mean by the term magnetic field. Field, as we have studied, you have also studied in your junior classes about electric field. What is actually an electric field? Electric field, magnetic field, all these terms are very commonly used. So now we'll focus on our term which is magnetic field here, okay? So magnetic field can be defined in the same manner as we define electric field. Magnetic field means an area. Field is what? A kind of area. So magnetic field is the imaginary area where the magnetic power of any material is exhibited. This is the definition which I spoke. I'll be writing the same definition and then I'll explain you. Magnetic field, it is an imaginary area where any magnetic material exhibits its magnetism power or the property of magnetism. So this imaginary area surrounding a conductor where its magnetic power or magnetic properties are seen, it is called magnetic field. Let's suppose this was our conductor. So this would be an imaginary area where you'll find its magnetic power. That is, let's suppose for an easy example, we take a magnet. Consider this as a magnet, okay? Now, I have a magnet in my hand. You have to imagine that this is my magnet and this is a kind of iron object which I am bringing closer to a magnet. So what I do is, I fix this magnet, I fix its position, and now I am taking the iron object. When I bring the iron object till this distance, then it is easily getting attracted. Okay. When I am bringing an iron object which is somewhat far away, then also this magnet has the power to attract the object. But when I keep my iron object very far away from the magnet, then what I see is, now the magnet is not able to attract this iron object. But when I bring it closer and when this magnet reaches a particular distance, now from this point it is getting attracted. But from a far distance it is not getting attracted. It means this magnet can only attract an object when it is present at a particular distance. So this imaginary area where this magnet is able to attract the objects is called its field. I hope this is clear. So this was our conductor. So it would have an imaginary area around itself, and this area, the imaginary circular area, is known as magnetic field. That is, if I am bringing, this is my conductor, and when a current I is flowing through a conductor, then it starts to behave like a magnet. It means now this would attract any iron or iron-like objects which are present around it. But if I keep one object here, it is a iron metal piece, then this magnet or this conductor would not be able to attract it. But when I bring the piece here, then it easily gets attracted towards our conductor. So this, what I am trying to explain is, magnetic field is the imaginary area in which the magnetism power of a conductor is present. So all this area, this would be called as the magnetic field of conductor. Conductor in which the current is flowing, and because the current is flowing, conductor is behaving as a magnet. So magnetic field is the imaginary area around a magnet where it shows its magnetism property or magnetizing powers. Okay, and this magnetic field, now this is an imaginary area. Who discovered this effect? That is, there was a great scientist known as Hans Christian Ørsted. Hans Christian Ørsted, in approximately 1820s, he discovered the magnetic effects of electric current. Okay? So this effect was discovered by Ørsted. Now we'll be seeing an experiment which Hans Christian Ørsted performed, and then he came to know about this effect, that is magnetic effects of electric current. So this is the experimental, a kind of experimental setup done by Ørsted, and then in your NCERT textbooks, you have been provided a circuit diagram for Ørsted experiment. So you have to do that circuit diagram, because in the exams, we'll not be drawing the batteries and all. We'll be drawing its circuit. That is, instead of battery, what you will be drawing? You will be drawing the symbol of battery, which we have studied all the symbols of the circuit components we have studied in our previous chapter, electricity. A table I have shown you which is given in your books. So there it is being given the different components used in circuit and their symbols. Okay. So for battery you will be drawing this kind of symbol, and whole circuit diagram is given in your books in Oersted experiment. So what Oersted did is, I am taking this diagram because it is easier for us to visualize and understand. Okay. So what he did is, see, he took a battery which is a source of potential, and he took a wire. These are the conducting wires. So what he observed is, when the current is passed through this wire, then what happens? From here, the current would be flowing through the wire. So consider this part of the conductor or your wire. So in this part, our current is flowing, and due to this is the magnetic compass which we are using. So magnetic compass is a simple device which has a magnetic needle, and it is always pointing in the north-south direction whenever it is present in a free form. Okay. So a freely suspended magnet, this activity I hope you have performed in your junior classes, wherever these terms, that is the chapters related to magnets and magnetism comes. What we do is, their activity is being provided. You take a magnet and you tie it with a thread. Okay, and now you freely suspend the magnet. So what would happen is, this magnet, after rotating, after some time, it would attain a fixed position, and this fixed position which it would attain, it would always point in the north-south direction. So a freely suspended magnet always points in the north-south direction. This is a very common activity. Okay, so remember this fact, that a freely suspended magnet, if you are asked to prove it, then you can give or explain the activity which I told you just now, that take a magnet, tie it with a thread and let it freely rotate. After some time, this freely rotating magnet would get stopped in a particular position, and this magnet always stops in a north-south direction. Okay. Whether 100 times you perform this activity at different locations, you will observe that always the magnets, freely suspended magnets, orients itself in the north-south position only. So a freely suspended magnet, we can conclude, it gets oriented always in the north-south direction. So hence this is the experimental setup performed by Oersted, and he observed that whenever a current flows through this conductor, then this magnetic needle or the needle of magnetic compass, it was originally in the north-south direction when you had no supply of current. Let's make a circuit diagram. So you can take here a battery, then you can take here a switch, okay, a key sort of thing, and here I am taking the magnetic compass which is originally oriented in the north-south direction. So what we are observing is, whenever I on, now my switch is in on condition. So because my switch is in on condition, so the current would flow through this battery, and this would be the direction of current. So when the current is flown through this, so what would happen? Suppose this is our conductor. So when the current is flowing through the conductor, now the position of the needle would change. That is, now the position of the needle would not be north-south direction. So the needle would get deflected. I can say the needle of compass gets deflected. And this deflection in the needle, it points out that now a magnetic field is being produced, because only when the magnetic field is produced, this needle of the compass, which was originally pointing in north-south direction, it would get deflected. So this experiment, how can you explain? You can say that magnetic effect phenomena was discovered by Hans Oersted. Then you can make a sort of circuit diagram, the exact one is provided in your textbooks, and then you can say that, you can explain that in first case, the magnet or the switch was in off condition. So we can say, how you can explain the experiment, that when the switch was off, no current was flowing through the conductor, and the magnetic needle was in north-south direction, was oriented in north-south direction. But when we on the switch or we close a circuit, then the current flows through the conductor and the magnetic needle gets deflected. So this would be the experiment. Now, what were the conclusions? So you can write in the conclusion section that when the magnetic needle gets deflected, it indicates the presence of magnetic field. So the deflection in magnetic needle indicates presence of magnetic field. Okay? And this presence of magnetic field, it means now a magnetic field is being produced around this conductor, and this concluded, or this gave a result, that is, whenever a current is flowing through a conductor, it produces magnetic field around itself. So this is all about magnetic field and Oersted experiment. Now we'll be discussing important terms which are magnetic field lines. Okay. Before this, you can see that we have different kinds of magnets. So you have many different kinds of magnet. The first one, it is called a U-shaped magnet. This is a bar magnet. Then you have a ring magnet. Then you have a horseshoe magnet. And there are many further types of magnet. The one magnets, if you got in your, when you were kids, then there were fairs organized. And in the fairs, we had certain this kinds of magnet. Okay. So there are many kinds of magnets. It was like a toy. So what we do is, if we separate these two, then they join and they produce a kind of sound. Okay. So such shape magnets were also produced. Then you have, this is a ring magnet which is hollow. It is hollower from inside. Then you can also have this kind of magnet which is a solid sphere type, and this is called a disc magnet. And many more other shapes of magnets are present. Okay, so the most common which we'll be studying is the bar magnet here. So you should remember that every magnet, whether it has any kind of shape, two poles are always present, that is the north and the south pole. So we have two poles present in our magnet. This is the north pole and this one is the south pole. And at these poles, the strength of magnetic field is the highest. Okay. So we'll be studying. Remember that at the poles, the strength of magnetic field is highest compared to the middle regions of the magnet. But every time, each magnet has two poles, whatever is the condition. And there is next an activity in which we can prove it. This also you have read in your class 7th or 8th science textbooks. It has been given that if we take a bar magnet, and every bar magnet has two poles. But what I do is, I break the magnet from here. So what I get is, I get this sort of piece. I get two pieces of the same magnet. So what happens is, now I am cutting out this north pole. So whole of the magnet should now have a south pole, because I have removed the north pole. Pole is what? Pole is this region. So now, all this magnet should have a south pole here, but not. The case is not like this. Whenever you cut a magnet through any of the poles, then the piece which you have cut, the same pole develops here. That is, again you will have a north pole developed here, and with this original north, you will have a south pole developed. So whether you try to cut a magnet in any of the manner, you will be getting two poles. Each magnet will always have the two opposite poles, that is one north and the other one would be south. Definitely, you cannot have any magnet which has two similar poles, either south or north or north. So these cases are not possible. You try to break the magnet in any kind of manner you wish, but you will be not getting this kind of case. Okay. So this is the different kinds of magnet which we have with us, and these are some of the general characteristics of the magnet. Okay. And then the next, I have already told you that at the poles, the strength of magnetic field is highest. Magnetic field is what? It is the imaginary area present surrounding any bar magnet or any kind of magnet. So now we'll be starting with one more topic, which is magnetic field lines. And then we'll be discussing what are the properties of magnetic field lines. So I told you, what do you mean by magnetic field? Now we have to discuss what do you mean by magnetic field lines. So magnetic field lines are the imaginary lines which actually shows the presence of magnetic field, or you can say these lines, they show the presence of magnetic nature. Okay, so magnetic field lines can be defined as, these are the imaginary lines present around any magnetic material and they show the presence of magnetic field around that material. So magnetic field lines are the imaginary field lines which are drawn, and these field lines, they tell you that here the magnetic field is present. They also tell us about the direction of the field, that is, where is the field lines moving. So now we'll be doing some of the properties of magnetic field lines. Properties of magnetic field lines. Okay, and let's make here a bar magnet. Bar magnet has two poles, north and south pole. So what happens is, the first property is that now magnetic field lines I'll abbreviate as MFL. Okay, so these magnetic field lines, they originate from the north pole of magnet. They start or originate from the north pole and move towards the south pole. So they start from the north pole and they end towards the south pole. This point you have to remember. Then the next point, or the next property of magnetic field lines is, these magnetic field lines, they are always in form of closed continuous curves. So this is again very important, that the magnetic field lines, they are starting from north and moving towards the south pole, and these are closed continuous curves. So in fact, if you draw the magnetic field lines, then these are the lines which are present in the form of curve, and these are starting from the north pole and moving towards the south pole. So in this manner you find the magnetic field lines, okay, from north to south. And remember, you have to specify the direction, because if you are not drawing the directional arrow, then you would reduce your marks. Okay, so from north to south, so the direction is they are starting from north and moving towards the south. These are present in curves which I have drawn here. Okay, these are present in the form of closed circular curves. Now what is the other important thing is, I have written here continuous or closed. Closed and continuous means one and the same thing. But as you can see, closed figure means what? Closed figure means like a circle. A circle is a closed figure because it has the same starting and the ending point. So closed means which have the same starting and ending point. But if you consider this magnetic field line, this diagram is incomplete because it is having starting point here, but its ending point is towards the south. So we have one more important direction, that is, whenever we are talking about the direction of magnetic field lines, here a question comes, what is the direction of MFL, that is magnetic field lines, outside and inside a magnet, outside and inside a magnet? So as you can see, the direction of magnetic field lines outside the magnet is from north to south. So outside the magnet, magnetic field lines move from north pole to south pole. But inside the magnet, these field lines, because they should be closed or they should be continuous in nature, then they'll move from this south pole to the north pole. So this would be the direction of magnetic field lines inside the magnet. So please remember this. This is a very frequent question which is asked in examinations. What is the direction of MFL in a magnet, outside the magnet and inside? So outside it is from north pole to south pole, and inside the magnet, magnetic field lines move from the south pole to the north pole. So please remember, it is a very important, you can star mark the question here. I hope this is clear now. So the next property of magnetic field lines is magnetic field lines shows the direction of magnetic field at a point. Direction of magnetic field at a point. That means, and this direction is actually tangential in nature. Okay, tangential to the closed curve. That is, if I try to explain you this, then you have this sort of magnetic field lines moving. Now if I tell you what is the direction of magnetic field lines at this P point. So at this point, to find the direction of magnetic field lines, what we do is we draw a straight line which is tangential to the surface. See, in this manner I draw a line, and this line is tangential to this closed curve, and in turn this would be the direction of magnetic field here. So we say that if I need to find the direction of magnetic field at a certain point, then draw a tangent at that point, and this arrow would represent the direction of magnetic field. Okay? So now coming on to the next property, the fourth property, that magnetic field lines do not cross each other, or you can write never intersect each other. Then you can star mark this point also as a question. This is again a very important point. You will be given a reasoning question that justify why the magnetic field lines, they never intersect or never cross each other. Because let's say you have a point P, which I took, okay? You have a direction of one magnetic field line is moving here, and the other magnetic field line is moving in this direction. So you can say, yes ma'am, both the magnetic field lines can cross. No. If I ask you what is the direction of magnetic field line at point P, so you say for finding direction, we draw a tangent. So here I would draw a tangent in this manner according to this line, and the next I can draw a tangent at this point. So can one point have two different direction of field? No. In turn, we say that magnetic field lines do not intersect each other. And the fifth point is the density of magnetic field lines. Density means the closeness. So density of magnetic field lines, it shows the strength of magnetic field. What I am trying to say is, if you see in the diagram, then you can observe that near the poles you have high density. Here if you observe, then you have many lines present in a smaller area. But when you are going far away from the poles, then the number of lines present are decreasing. Okay? See, here you have how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But here if you go away from the poles, then the number of lines decrease. It means where more number of lines are present, it signifies a strong field. And less number of lines, or the lines which are present far away from each other, it means there the field is less. A question can be asked that if you are given two magnets, here you have two magnets, here you have the magnetic field lines which are very dense or which are present near to each other, and here the magnetic field lines are less in number or they are present far. So we say that this would be a stronger magnet because you have more number of field lines and also more density. So with density, you can write density and number of magnetic field lines. If the closeness and number of magnetic field lines is more, it means the magnet has a higher strength of magnetic field, that is, it is a good magnet. So this is for today's class. This we have studied about the introduction. In the next I'll be showing you how the circular loops, how this shape of magnetic lines was observed. Okay, why they are present in circular loops and why you do not have magnetic field lines in this manner, in the straight manner. So this we'll be dealing in our further classes. So thank you for joining the class today. Till then, stay home, stay safe, keep studying. And I hope you found it interesting, but you have any sort of suggestions or queries, then you are always welcome. Till then, thank you.